Well, I guess we now have our superstar as well. What an amazing, amazing night at the convention. It was just amazing. Anyway, um, Rudy Giuliani, Fred Thompson, Mitt Romney, and Mike Huckabee were amazing. Excerpts from Giuliani's remarks to the Republican convention are kind of important. He talks about the importance of the election. He said, "This is a time for choosing, and to those Americans who still feel torn in this election, I'd like to suggest one way to think about the choice you have to make in 2008. You're hiring someone to do a job, an important job, that involves the safety and security of your family." On Governor Palin, he says, "Governor Palin represents a new generation. She's already one of the most successful governors in America and most popular. And she already has more executive experience than the entire Democratic ticket. She's led a city and a state. She's reduced taxes and government spending. And she's actually done something about moving America toward energy independence, taking on the oil companies while encouraging more energy exploration here and at home. Taxpayers have an advocate in Sarah Palin. She even sold the former governor's private plane on eBay. On the Republican Party's vision for a stronger America and a freer world," he says, "and as we look to the future, never let us forget that when we are at our best, we are the party that expands freedom. We began as a party dedicated to freeing people from slavery, and we are still the party that is willing to fight for freedom at home and around the world. We are the party that wants to expand individual freedom and economic freedom, because we believe that the secret of America's success is not central government, it is self-government. And we are the party that believes unapologetically in America's essential greatness, that we are a shining city on a hill, a beacon of freedom that inspires people everywhere to reach for a better world." And then, for voting president in the Illinois State Senate after immersing himself in Chicago politics, Obama won elected office nearly 130 times. He couldn't make a decision. He couldn't make a decision of whether to vote yes or no. It was too tough. And Sarah Palin, "The American presidency is not supposed to be a journey of personal discovery. This world of threats and dangers is not just a community, and it doesn't just need an organizer," Palin said. Clear reference to Obama's time as a community organizer in Chicago. And to the media that had closely examined her record, she said, "Here's a little newsflash for all those reporters and commentators. I'm not going to Washington to seek their good opinion. I'm going to Washington to serve the people of this country," noting that the couple's oldest son, Track, 19, was shipping out to Iraq in the 8 days with the Army infantry. Palin praised McCain as a true profile in courage, and people like that are hard to come by. He's a man who wore the uniform of this country for 22 years and refused to break faith with those troops in Iraq who now have brought victory within sight. And as the mother of one of those troops, that is exactly the kind of man I want as commander-in-chief." And then she said, "When I ran for city council, I didn't need focus groups and voter profiles because I knew those voters, and I knew their families too." Before becoming governor, Palin served as mayor of Wasilla. She recounted, adding, "And since our opponents in this presidential election seem to look down on that experience, let me explain to them what the job involves. I guess a small-town mayor is sort of like a community organizer, except that you have actual responsibilities." In another barb directed at the Illinois Democrat, Palin said, "Here's how I look at the choice America faces in this election. In politics, there are some candidates who use change to promote their careers, and then there are those, like John McCain, who use their careers to promote change." This speech that Sarah Palin gave tonight, Governor Sarah Palin, was one of the most inspiring speeches I have heard since Ronald Reagan. She just made the case for conservatism and why it is so important to embrace these principles. Why these principles help bring you, economic freedom. We don't need to be taxed more. We don't need more government oversight. We don't need more government spending. We just don't need it. We need the money in the hands of the people so they can spend it, so they can expand businesses, so they can do whatever the hell they want as long as government gets out of the way. This was an amazing, amazing night. Oh, and for Obama, who tried to who tried to talk about how he was more experienced than Palin, he said that he's run a campaign for a year and a half now with, I don't know, 250,000 staffers or 25,000 staffers and an $18 million a month budget. Did he fire his campaign manager, or does he not have people running his campaign? I mean, he is the nominee, right? He's not running the campaign for somebody else. It's just great. And, you have Nora Roberts out there who's so angry and so bitter. And Andrea Mitchell is just deflated. And it was just a great night. And, of course, people said, oh, yeah, she gave a speech. Yeah, I guess there were great theatrics. She can deliver a speech. She can throw a punch. But they were criticizing her about her speechwriter. Well, somebody wrote the speech and they did this and that. Everybody writes everybody's speech. You think Obama writes his own speeches? I mean, just because he descends out of the clouds from the heavens does not mean he writes his own speeches. He might have some input, like most candidates do, some more than others, but he doesn't write his speeches, and neither does Sarah Palin. Although I'm sure as a governor and as a mayor, I'm sure she has a lot more experience writing her own speeches. She basically, it was mentioned that Obama, she said Obama has written 2 autobiographies, but based on what? He hasn't done it. He hasn't introduced any major legislation. And if I hear one more time about that bill to disarm countries of nuclear weapons, I'm going to throw up. Okay, he co-sponsored it. He put his name on the bill. He had nothing to do with passing the bill. He didn't talk to any other nations. The committee that he chairs, the subcommittee that he chairs, he's never even held a meeting. Never held a meeting. The whole time this guy has been in the Senate, he's been running for president. That's change we can believe in. That's the change we don't need in this country. And can you tell me exactly what a community organizer is? I'm going to have to do a video blog just on that. What is a community organizer? Is it somebody that hangs up poster boards on telephone poles? Is it somebody that signs people up for welfare? Is it somebody that drives a bus and gets all the Democratic voters out to vote? Somebody please enlighten me and tell me what a community organizer does and how that qualifies anybody for higher office. Anybody? Video response would be nice. Anyway, it was an amazing night. The inspiration is flowing until I read the papers tomorrow and see all the criticism of Palin. But until then, I'm just going to savor this for a few minutes because it was remarkable. It was history. And this is the future of our party. And I'm happy to say that. Happy and proud to say that. Have a good night.